right, there we are, done for this segment, leaning against the post. Well, here I am back on the trail, leaning against the old post. But wait, something's different. My pack looks really different, doesn't it? And wait a minute, this thing should give you a big clue as to what I'm up to next. Well, I'm back on the trail. Well, if you call this a trail. See, last video I came down through here and hiked through there and over to the shore back here. But when I was up here, I had this thought in my mind. Let's replay that. So here's the plan. I'm gonna go along the far side of that isthmus on my boat and then down the right side of the lake and rejoin the trail down there somewhere. So here we go. Let's spool into the future. Last year when I was hiking the trail, I heard two people say, oh, nobody hikes around Twin Lakes anymore. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, you're supposed to hike the whole trail. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. What if I kayaked it? Wouldn't that be cool? So that's what I'm up to today. And I have to say, so far it seems like a brilliant idea. Let's take a look at the scenery. I mean, look at that. The big old mountains. Some of the highest peaks in all of Colorado. Mount Elbert up that way. Independence Pass going to Aspen. What spectacular scenery. Well, there goes the helicopter with its firefighting bucket underneath it. Probably dip that down maybe in the other side of Twin Lakes there and fight some forest fire somewhere. Over here is an old abandoned hotel. I'm probably going to be hiking past that sometime later today. Okay, so I've crossed the lake, and here's the silly thing about this all is I'm going to boat a couple miles down there to reconnect with the trail. But the trail's right here. If I had my pack in my boat and a Sherpa to take my boat back, I could get out right here and start hiking. I'm trying to decide if I hike faster or paddle faster. Not really sure. And that's it. There's no more water. So it's time to get out of the boat and swap packs, get back in my backpacking gear, and start hiking. All right, there it is. That took me almost 3 hours. Okay, here's the most stupidest packing mistake I've ever made. Because I was kayaking, I didn't bring my hiking boots on the kayak, which makes sense. So I picked up 2 boots and threw them in the car. But what do we see here? They're not the same boots. And the real problem is the Keens have a heel where the Ultras are a 0 drop. So I can't hike, over Hope Pass with one leg being shorter than the other one. So my solution? Well, I borrowed my buddy Troy's shoes. All right, we're all done paddling, but the next thing I need to do is get on my backpacking pack so I can start hiking. So let's shake off this pack. Oh, yep, got the pack up back on. Let's go hiking. And there we go. We're back on the earthly part of the trail after being on the watery part of the trail. At least I decided that the water was a legitimate way to connect those 2 sections of the trail. And I suppose somebody might have a quibble with, well, did you really hike at all if you boated a chunk? And I'm going, yeah, because it was continuous, point to point, and it was human powered, and it was stunningly beautiful and tons of fun. So I'm going with it. Now, I am completing at this point section 11, which I did half of it in the last video. Now I've done another chunk of it in the boat. Now I'm doing the last mile or two, once again, hiking. Then I will be on section 12. No, won't be on section 12. I will be on section 1 of the West Collegiate Alternative. We'll see how that goes. Especially hiking in my buddy's shoes that I'm not used to, because I am an idiot and brought 2 shoes that are different kinds. Okay, the funky thing about doing the kayak hike is that I just kayaked right down here. And now I'm hiking right back up this way. Well, on the far end of the lake, that Chinook helicopter keeps on going back and forth, filling up its bucket. On this side of the lake, the forest fire has already happened. Here's the big trail juncture. Going that way is the Collegiate East Trail. That is the Collegiate West Trail. And I have decided that I'm going west. Why? Because it's farther and it's harder. But more importantly, it's more scenic and more remote. Well, there's the restored Dexter cabin and hotel. I believe that's the hotel. Maybe it's the cabin. I don't know. But I saw this and pointed it out to you as I was crossing the lake, about 5-6 hours ago. This is a restored historical site, as it turns out. Look at that old log cabin of humongous size. A few outbuildings, and I think that's the actual hotel up this way. Let's take a look. There we go. The Interlaken Hotel. I'm kind of guessing that maybe Swiss people made this, because I've been to Interlaken, Switzerland. I wonder if they have anything to do with each other. Okay, tomorrow, heading up there somewhere, up into those big old mountains, all the way to 12,000 feet. Okay, the scenery just keeps on being spectacular, like everywhere I look. I put in a lot of miles today, and the big reason for that was that half of them were kayaking, and that meant I got to thrash a different part of my body than usual. I gotta say, the whole plan turned out great, and it was brilliant. A really fun way to start the day, kayaking across the lake, and then swapping for my pack, and then having a really brilliant hike through the woods along the lake. So tomorrow's plan is to get right up to tree line. I won't try to get over the pass tomorrow, because it's too far and it's too much of a climb. But there is a threat, that is, of thunderstorms on Friday. So tomorrow I want to get to tree line as close as possible, set up camp, so then on Friday morning I can wake up, get through the high country and back under tree line before that threat of thunderstorm materializes, or so I hope. So that's the plan. Check in with me tomorrow. All right, it's day 2. We're on the first section of the Collegiate West Alternative Route. And this will be the big climb day. In 4.8 miles, I will be at 11,600 feet. Only, I think all the climbing happens in the last couple of miles. Right now I'm still walking along the lake, which is over there, out of sight. Off we go. Well, to put this into perspective, at any one given area, tree line is more or less the same altitude. So if we look at that mountain, take a look at where the trees give out, and that's how high I'm hiking today. Oh, I can definitely tell this stream is from snow runoff. I can barely stand to have my feet in here for a few seconds. Anyway, this is the first break of the day. 3.8 miles to go to tree line. So here's a little thing. I took a lot of footage when I was kayaking. So one of the things I'm doing during my rest break is getting out my solar charger. It's kind of blown out, but it's sitting right there, and putting it directly into the sun. Just so I get a maximum charge. It does charge when it's on top of my pack, hiking along, but of course, you know, it's never really lined up with the sun, and I'm in and out of sun and shadow. So when I take a break, take a moment to really get a good charge on it. It really helps me stay ahead. Okay, time for a 60-year-olds on the trail news update. Okay, for the first time this year, hiking all the way from Copper Mountain, I just met two other people in their mid-60s on the trail. So we got to chatting a little bit, and when we all reflected that there were a lot more of us at the beginning of the trail. But those guys readily admitted that this was their third year on the trail to get where we are now. And this is kind of my second year, although I have to admit that I did do one section 6, about 7 years ago. So, if you're 60 and you're getting on the trail and you want to finish it, so far the scorecard says it's probably going to be a few years. All right, this whole section of trail was not built as a hiking trail, probably some sort of mining exploration thing, because there's not one single switchback. This has been like 300 feet of straight up. But thank goodness at some point somebody decided to have mercy on us, because that old mining trail goes up this way. But now the switchback has been cut into this, so you get a bit of relief. Of the 3,300 feet that I have to climb today, I've got 1,100 of it done. So almost exactly a third. And the whole secret here is just painfully slow pace. You know, to the point where you don't have to stop and gas, because then you just kill yourself and you'll never make it. And then taking rest breaks like this. I will do another third plus of that and then do the remainder tomorrow morning, hopefully escaping all potential thunderstorms. So because of my shoe screw up, I am inadvertently doing a review on Hokum shoes. And you know, they're working fine. I'm walking along, no problem. There's a couple of downsides. I mean, they're really wide footbed, means on uneven terrain, you got a lot of leverage for ankle twisting. The other thing is there are these ventilated type of shoes, which, you know, there's a cult that loves these things. But what I forgot is that if your shoes, the tops of them are all made full of holes, the dust of the trail just gets in and fills your shoes full of dust. And plus, I have to be really careful crossing streams because one dab of my toe, my foot's going to be soaked for the rest of the trip. Finally, at last, I'm starting to see the edge of the tree line. The last mile was a bare 1,000 feet of altitude in 1 mile. Roughly speaking, it's a 20% grade the whole way. One wonders what this guy was up to. And here's another cabin. How did this guy fare? Did he make his fortune mining? Or did he go bust? Limp on home with his tail between his legs? Who knows? How quickly the seasons change in the high country. The once vibrant colors of spring only a few weeks back are now gone. Well, I've made it to tree line. I'm going to look for a flat spot and maybe some water, because my app is lying to me about the water supply, but I should be good. Look at this place. Pretty amazing, huh? There it is, mid-August. Already the leaves are starting to change on some of these shrubs, a few trees here and there. Now, I'm gonna give up some altitude that I've already climbed, but that little campsite by that lake looks absolutely perfect. So I think it's worth it. Right here in this big mountain valley. Either a slice of Spam with cheese sticks on an English muffin is a really good sandwich, or I'm like really, really, really hungry. Well, it's a little after 8 and I'm off early because look at the sky. At 8 o'clock we already have cloud development. There's a grayness to the bottoms showing that they're already getting saturated. We have a valley with a big inversion, and everything tells me that this is going to be an active weather day. So I need to get over Hope Pass, which is over there, on the early part of the day. After that, it'll be a few thousand feet down, and that should be easy and go by rather quickly. Okay, I'm sure the trail builder thought they were doing a good thing by putting in these steps. But if you notice, everybody walks around these steps. And why? Because, we're over 12,000 feet. And it's been a long, arduous climb. And these steps force you to take big steps with your knees bent. Which means you can't pace yourself properly. So, there's no curse in this world worse on a steep climb than stairs. And this is what you come for. It's the big scenery. Somewhere over there is the next section going off into these mountains. I'm sitting in this saddle here. Looking back this way is where I've come from. As a matter of fact, I think as far in the distance as you can see is how far I've hiked. All the way from Copper Mountain, section 9, 10, 11. And if you look, here's Twin Lakes down here. See, there's the Close Lake and the farther lake, the reservoir on top of the hill. But if you look very closely, you can see where I put my kayak in the water 2 days ago. Well, I'm heading down off the pass. When I was looking to the north, I could see rain starting to fall out. So it's time to get out of the high country and down below tree line, which is, let's take a look, way down there. So here's one thing about being the slowest hiker on the trail. You never see anybody more than once. You're hiking along nice and slow, they're going fast, they say hi, they go by, you never see them again. However, it's not entirely true. When I was hiking section 10, I'm sitting by the side of the trail. A gal comes along, we have a little chat, and then she heads off and says, well, maybe I'll see you again. And I'm going, no way, I'm the slowest hiker in the world. Nobody ever sees me more than once. Well, the next morning, I'm sitting by the side of the trail, and along she comes from behind me, and I'm going, how the hell did you ever get behind me? And she goes, oh, well, I climbed Mount Massive, and then came down and completed this junk. And I'm going, oh, okay, that makes sense. We have a little chat, and then she heads off, and it's going, okay, well, now I'll probably never see you again. She says, well, I'm going to take the detour and climb Mount Elbert also, so who knows, maybe. So the next afternoon, I'm sitting by the side of the lake at Twin Lakes, waiting for the big white pickup truck, sitting there, and along she comes again, and I'm going like, holy smoke, this is now the third time I've seen you. She looks at me and says, I've never actually seen you hiking. I'm going like, well, I don't actually hike. I just sit by the side of the trail. I got a little teleporter, and I just teleport from one position to the next. We have a little laugh, and then I'm going, okay, where are you going next? And she's going like, well, I'm going to do the Collegiate East and then finish the trail, and maybe later on come back and do the Collegiate West when I finished. And I'm going like, well, if you get snow in September, if you really want to do the Collegiate West, you might want to do her now. And she's going like, well, okay, well, I'll think about that. And I'm going like, okay, well, see ya. Except for this time, I'm never going to see you again. But have fun. And off she goes. Well, climbing up the other side of Hope Pass up there, I saw her hiking down. And I'm going like, holy smoke, I can't believe I've actually seen you for a fourth time. And she goes like, holy smoke, you don't have a transporter. You're actually hiking, because I've never seen you hike so far. Well, as it turns out, what she decided to do is, because I warned her about potential snows in September, is that she did the entire loop of the collegiates. The East Collegiates going along the valley along 24, down around Monarch Pass, and then back up over there, completing the whole thing 160 miles. Now, mind you, I took a long break between the last bit of the trail and this one, but in the time it took me to get from the side of the trail where we last met to Hope Pass, she'd hiked 160 miles and I had hiked 7. Slowest known time. I've got it in the bag. It's mine. You know, there's something so sad about giving up all that hard-won altitude to go all the way down, down, down here into that valley below. All right, it's sections of trail like this where the stream runs down it, where I have to remind myself that I don't have Gore-Tex shoes, so one misstep and I'm gonna have wet feet for the rest of the day. There it is, the teeny reminder that fall is coming soon. The last mile of the trail is a bare 1,200 feet in a mile. So we're talking close to a 25% grade. And, you know, usually you go like, yay, I got the downhill part, and everything quickens up, but you can't go down a 25% grade very quickly. So I'm just getting smashed here. This trail was not very thought out as far as hiking goes. It's just straight up and down. I'm not sure why it doesn't all just erode away. This is the end of the section, which is officially Collegiate West number 1, or we could think about it as Collegiate West number 12 on the entire trail, because we went from 11, now we're on 12. I am not going this way. This is where you'll see me in the next video if it doesn't start snowing. We're already seeing leaves change. I'm going to have to recuperate after this barn burner of a hike, and then it needs to not snow for me to do the next section, which is very high and very long, about 23 miles. So I'm going to take a slight break here and then head down here, another 250 feet of altitude in 0.2 miles, and then we're going to start looking for, you know what it is, the big white pickup truck. Holy moly, it's level ground after 2,400 feet of 20% downhill. Oh, what an amazing thing. We can actually walk at a reasonable pace. Yeehaw.